Hi, Stefan Svartling here from Svartling Network. You probably know by now that I am very much into GTD, getting things done. And I have followed that methodology for a quite long time now. And I've been a heavy user of Omnifocus. But recently I've been quite tired of Omnifocus because it has a terrible bad sync. My iOS devices is almost never in sync when I start the app. So I decided to test the Todoist system, the Todoist apps instead, and compare that to Omnifocus. And one of the first things I noticed is that Todoist has a lot better sync. It always is in sync and the sync is instant. So it's a much better sync than Omnifocus has. Another thing that's great with Todoist is that it has a web app, a really good web app that you can get to from any web browser anywhere in the world. So you don't have to have Todoist installed, just use the web app if you want. And Todoist also has a Chrome plugin and a Outlook plugin. So you can say that Todoist is universal. It works everywhere, on Android phones, on iOS devices, on the web, and in any web browser. So that's a huge plus for Todoist. Another thing that I like with Todoist is that it has support for natural language. So you can write exactly how you want to add a new task. So you can, for example, write clean car on Thursday at 2 p.m. and Todoist understands what you want to do. But unfortunately, Todoist doesn't support start dates or defer as Omnifocus calls it. And that's really bad because if you want to follow the GTD methodology 100%, you need to have start dates or defer dates. And personally, I think defer dates is way more effective than due dates. Due dates doesn't belong in a task management system because due dates should be in your calendar. If you have a due date on a specific time, then use a calendar. So Omnifocus defer dates is a lot better, and especially together with the flag feature, because with defer dates and flag feature you get the actions and next actions features from the GTD methodology. And you will be a lot more harmonic without the due dates, because due dates usually get overdue and that will only make you more stressful. It's much better to flag items that you want to do instead of adding a due date to them. I've done a GTD mind map with exactly how I use GTD. You can check it out on my website svartling.net. So Todoist is quite good, but unfortunately Todoist is subscription based, and I don't like that because the more subscriptions you have, the more expensive it will be for the person that has all these subscriptions. So a subscription-based solution is not good at all. I prefer paying big money for Omnifocus apps instead, because that is a one-time payment. So if you use Todoist for a longer time, a few years, then Todoist will be very expensive to use. And yes, you can use the free version of Todoist, but then you lose a lot of important features. For example, notifications, one of the most important features for you, so that's not good at all. So to use the real power of Todoist, you need to have a subscription. And one of the huge advantages for Omnifocus is the review feature. If you want to follow the GTD methodology, then you have to do reviews frequently. And the review feature in Omnifocus is excellent, but unfortunately only available in the iPad and Mac version of Omnifocus. So it's not available on the iPhone, unfortunately. And the review feature helps you, remind you about that it's time to do a review, and you can set your own review dates for a specific project, for example. So the review feature is very good, so you can do a review of all your tasks that you need to do and change them and add them to new projects or set a new defer date or whatever you want to do with it. So the review feature in Omnifocus is incredibly useful. I actually think that the review feature is one of the most important things in GTD. And Omnifocus also has an excellent calendar integration. You have your calendar due dates, your calendar events at the bottom of your Omnifocus overview, your today list. You have all your calendar events at the bottom there. So you have both your Omnifocus tasks and your calendar events on the same page. So you can see everything in your forecast view in Omnifocus. That's pretty useful. Very effective. And you also get a complete calendar from Omnifocus that you can subscribe to in your preferred calendar app. But the calendar app you use need to support subscription calendars. So not all calendars works with this Omnifocus calendar. But for example, Apple's own calendar app works perfectly fine. Google Calendar works perfectly fine. And also the new kind of calendar called Tempo works perfectly fine. But unfortunately not the cool calendar app called Sunrise. This Omnifocus calendar means that you can have your due dates that you have in Omnifocus in your calendar too. So you can have all your events on a specific date and time in your calendar, but you can add them to your Omnifocus instead of your calendar. So that's pretty nifty if you want to have a thing to do on an exact specific time. As I said, your due dates should be in a calendar, so this feature is pretty nifty. Omnifocus supports start dates called defer dates in Omnifocus. So that's very good because I think that is more effective than using due dates. So you should use these start dates, defer dates together with the flag feature in Omnifocus, because then you get the actions and next actions features from the GTD methodology. And it's way better to flag an item that you need to do than set a specific due date, because then again you get an overdue date, overdue task very easily, and that is very stressful. So it's better to flag items so you get them into your overcast view so you can see what you need to do and not exactly on a specific date. If you have a task that needs to be done on an exact date and time, use a calendar. And another thing that is quite good with Omnifocus is that it has a Microsoft Outlook support. So you can add Outlook tasks and then they get into a reminders list, iOS reminders list. And from that reminders list, it syncs to your Omnifocus inbox. That's pretty effective and much easier to set up than it sounds. So you can add tasks to your Outlook tasks and then they sync with your Omnifocus inbox. So that is an excellent way to empty your head with all your thoughts and so on and have them in your inbox in Omnifocus. So that was some of my thoughts about the Todoist task management system and the Omnifocus task management system. And I have decided to stay with Omnifocus. I won't switch to Todoist. Omnifocus has everything I want it to, and I don't see the point in starting to use Todoist instead and have a subscription-based solution that will cost a lot of money after a while. So I still recommend using Omnifocus, but if you are an Android user or use Windows computers and so on, then maybe Todoist could be the better solution for you, because Omnifocus is only available on iOS devices and Macs.